Right, good morning everyone and welcome to the online class on Python. So yesterday we don't have a class because of some problem in the system, and today also the same problem repeats. So actually we are learning about the file operations in Python. So we have already completed the theory part and we are waiting for the programs. So we want to write a program on how to read the data from a file, and then how to write the data into the file, or how to append the data, or how to copy the data. So in order to see all these things, uh, actually, for example, let us revise the things what we have discussed so far in the previous session. For example, if we want to do any file operations, so first we need to open that file, right? We need to open that file and we need to perform that operation. And after performing the operation, we need to close that. So these are the three basic steps which we need to follow in order to do file operations in any programming language. So we had started with this opening, how to open a file. So for example, if you want to open a file, you have to use this open function, right? If you want to open a file, you have to use this open function. So in this open function, we have to pass two parameters. For example, I have here used the open function. So for this open function, we have to pass two parameters which are separated by the comma. So here the first parameter is called as the complete path with extension, and the second parameter is mode of the file. So here open function is used to open the file. So before that, we will give a name of a variable where all the data of this file will be saved in this variable. Okay, so whenever we say a equal to open of something, so in the memory, some amount of memory will be reserved under the name of a. Here the complete data of the file will be stored. So if we perform any updations to this data, this variable will be updated. Okay, this area will be updated, and when we close the file, these updates will be carried to the file which was located in our computer system. Okay, so here, for example, so we use the open function to open a file, right? So for example, on my desktop, I have a file called as csv1, right? I have a file called as csv1, and if I want to open this file, right? If I want to open this file in read mode or write mode, I need to provide the complete path. So if you make a right click on this one, and if you go to the properties, there you can find the properties, and inside the properties you will find the location of that file. So please copy the location of this file, okay, and paste it here, and paste it here. So here at this particular location, we have a file called as csv1. So maintain the name of csv1 here, csv1, and at last we have to provide the extension of this file. So the type of the file is a text document, so we use .txt at the end. So csv.txt. So now this csv1 is a text file which was located on the desktop, where the desktop was located in user folder, where the user folder was located in users folder, and where the users was located in C drive. So this is what all the thing we have to provide as a first parameter to the open function. And then the second one is the mode of the file. So here the mode of the file is that if we want to open this file in read mode, then we have to pass R, or if you want to open this file in write mode, then we have to pass W, or if you want to open this file with append mode, we need to pass A. So let us assume I am trying to open this file with read mode, so I have to pass R here. So here, if you pass R, this particular file is going to be opened in read mode. Okay, so if you run the code, let us see here, if you run the code, there is one error, we are getting an error that Unicode escape or codec cannot decode bytes in position 2 to 3. So here we had already studied about this backslash operator. So it is called as an escape sequence operator. So where if we join this one with /t, everything will be printed in the new line, or if, oh sorry, everything will be printed with the tab space, or if you use /n, then everything will be printed in the new line, right? So here, if you look at the complete path, if you look at the complete path, there you are finding some symbols with the backslash. So here, if the compiler observes this backslash, and immediately it understands that it is an escape sequence operator. So in order to say the compiler to ignore everything, please use small r or capital R. So I had already discussed this one with you, I think three classes before. Okay, so if you use R, or if you use capital R, or if you use the capital R, then in case if the string contains the backslash, it will be ignored. So if I use R and if I run the code, see here, I am getting an error. Okay, I'm getting an error. Even though csc1.txt was on the desktop, even though the csc was txt was on the desktop, I am getting an error that file not found error, or no such file or direct. Okay, so this is because here I am a file permissions, file do not have permissions to access from the program. So that's why I don't take the class yesterday. Yesterday I tried this one, but I think according to the suggestion from one of the faculty that we need to log in through the administrator. So by logging through the administrator, we can work out with these programs. Okay, so I'm going to stop about this file programs today. Okay, so I will start the unit number 3. So whenever the file programs has been completed, then unit number 2 will be completed. But unfortunately, the programs are not working in the system. So that's why I'm unable to show how to read a data from a file, or how to write data into the file, or how to do remaining file operations with the help of the programs. So once the system is ready to do the file programs, I will get back to you with the file programs on files. So before that, I will show all the file programs later. Don't worry about that. And with this files concept, we have completed unit number 2, and today we are going to start unit number 3, where the unit number 3, there are 2 parts in the unit number 3, right? There are 2 parts in unit number 3. The first part is that, right? The first part is that list, okay, list, and then tuple, list, tuple, and dictionary. List, tuple, and dictionary. So we had heard these names, right? We had heard these names while discussing about the data types in Python. So we had seen what is a list and how the elements in the list can be accessed, and what are the index values that can be given to the each and every element in the list, or how can we delete the elements in the list, or how can we change the elements in the list. All the things we have covered in while discussing about data types in Python. So here in unit number 3, as I said earlier, there are 2 parts. So the first part consists of the things related to list, tuple, and dictionary, and the second part consists of the things related to functions. Okay, so in the first part, we are going to cover about what are the basic list operations. So what are the basic list operations? Basic list operations in the sense how to replace the elements in the list, or how to insert the elements into the list, or how to remove an element, or how to search an element, and how to sort the elements in the list. Sorting in the sense either arranging the elements in ascending or descending order. So under the list, okay, we are going to cover the topics such as how to replace the elements in the list, okay, and then how to insert the elements, okay, and then how to remove the elements, and then how to search the elements in the list and how to sort the elements in the list. And then under dictionary, we are going to see about, under dictionary we are going to see about how to add or delete keys, how to add or delete keys, right? And then how to access and replace values. So how to replace values, how to replace and how to access values. Okay. And then under the tuple also we are going to see, under the tuple also we are going to see how to create, okay, how to create and how to access the values. So in tuple we cannot insert or we cannot remove because tuple is a immutable data type. Okay, so under the function we are going to see how to declare a function, right? How to declare a function in Python. What is a parameterized function, right? What is a parameterized function and how we can make call to that parameterized function, right? What is the named arguments, what is the formal arguments, what is the actual arguments, and what is the meaning of hiding redundancy and recursive functions. What is recursion and what is the recursive function? So these all things we are going to cover under the functions. Okay, so let us start the unit number 3 with the concept of list. Okay, with the concept of list, let us see how to define a list and how to access the elements of the list. So we all know if we use a rectangular braces, then it represents a list. And if you use the normal parenthesis, it will represent a tuple. And if you use a pair of clever braces, it represents a dictionary. So it may be a list, or it may be a tuple, or it may be a dictionary. All these three are called as derived data types in Python. We can call them as derived data types, or we can call them as data types. Okay, data types which will store multiple values, under a single name, So list or tuple or dictionary, all these are called as data types which will store multiple values under a single name. Okay, so let us start with list. So list, in order to declare a list, we use rectangular braces, and in order to declare a tuple, right, in order to declare a tuple, we are going to use normal parenthesis, and in order to declare a dictionary, we are going to use the pair of clever braces. Okay, so let us see here. So my variable is a, and for a, I am going to assign multiple number of values with rectangular braces. So whenever the Python compiler observes the rectangular braces, then it come to a conclusion that it was a list. So inside the list, I can have an integer value, I can have a floating point value, right? I can have an something called as a complex value, that is real part and imaginary part, and I can have a something called as character, right? And then I can have a string in double quotes, and at the same time I can have a string in triple quotes. Okay, so these are the different values that I can have, right? These are the different values that I can have inside a list. So there is no mandatory, or there is no such a rule that the list should contain only all integers or only all floating point types, all should be of complex numbers, etc. There is no such a rule. Okay, so we can have the combination of different data types under a single name. Okay, so we had discussed this thing for multiple number of times, and I'm explaining again. So the first value, so the starting index will be 0, and the ending index will be n minus 1, where n is the number of elements in that list. So if you observe, there is one integer, floating point, complex. So 3 numbers, and then Z 4, CSC 5, and AAML 6. So n minus 1 means 6 minus 1. So the ending index will be 5. So the values will be stored in such an index that 0 to 5. So if we access A of 0, then it is going to give 10. And if we access A of 1, then it is going to give 25.46, etc. And when you access A of 5, it is going to print AIML on the output screen. Okay, so this is how the list will be stored inside the memory location. Now, at the same time, list is also going to support, right? List is also going to support negative indices. So the last value will have the index of -1, and the first value will have the index of -n, where n is the number of elements in that list. So here there are 6 elements. So if you want to access the first value inside the list by using the negative index, you can access it by using -6. And if you access the last element inside that list by using negative index, you can go for -1. So this is how the elements in the list can be stored. So for example, if I want to print all the elements of that list, simply I can do print A. Okay, if you observe, if I give print A, it has printed all the elements in that list. And similarly, if I want to print the element at something index called as at index something called as 0, at index 0, if I do this one, index 0, if I do this one, it is going to print. I had one mistake here. Okay. So it is going to print the first value inside the list A, because the first value will have the 0 index, right? And at the same time, if you want to print any element with index negative index, for example, if I give -2, as we discussed earlier, the last element will have -1, and the last before element will have -2. So if you give A of -2, so the index value is -2. So the index will be calculated from right to left. So the right first element will have -1, and the right second element will have -2. So now if you run the code, CSC will be printed on the output. Okay. So similarly, you can also replace the elements. You can also replace the elements. For example, I want to replace this 4 plus 5j with ds string. So let us see what is the index of this value. So if you go for the positive index, it will be 0, 1, and 2 will be the positive index. And if you go for negative index, -1, -2, -3, and -4. So you can use, right? You can use either index 2 or index -4. Both will represent 4 plus 5j. So let us do this one by using A of 2 equal to, okay, A of 2 equal to ds. So in place of 4 plus 5j, I am going to replace the complex number with the string ds. So if I run the code, before running the code, just a second. If I print, right, if I print the list again after replacing A of 2 with ds, you can see here the first list contains 10, 25.56, 4 plus 5j, Z, CSC, and AIML, where the next list contains all the 5 elements as same, but 4 plus 5j has been replaced with the ds. So because we had given A of 2 equal to ds. Okay, so this is how we generally perform some list operations. Okay, now we are going to look at, there are some functions, right? There are some default functions in Python through which we can, right, through which we can have some operations on list. Okay, so let us consider, right, let us consider this is a list. Okay, this is a list. Now I'm going to cover the functions one by one. Okay, So till now we have discussed the things what we have already learned while discussing about data types in Python. In data types, we had seen the declaration of a list, the accessing the elements of a list, and then accessing or replacing the elements, etc. Now, from today, we are going to use some default functions, and with the help of those functions, we are going to do some operations on list. So here the first method is that append. Okay, append. So what this append method will do is that, so this append method is used to add the element at the end of the list. For example, the last element in the list is AIML, and if you use this append method, then a new element will be added at the end of the list. For example, I want to add to the list A, so A dot append, okay, A dot append of, so I want to add 50. So if I do so, right, if I do so, and if I print the list again, if I print the list here, so if you observe, if I run the code, so the last element was 15. So the last element was 50. See here, you can print the list again here before appending. You can see that the last element was AML. But if you add the element by using append, so append is the default or append is the predefined function in Python programming language, which is used to add one element at the end of the list. So for example, if I add one more element, a dot append, so I want to add the element to the list A, so I am using this append function, a dot append. So here I am using ECE, okay, and after appending, I'm going to print this list A. So if I do so, you can see here the list is added by one more element, that is ECE. Okay, at the same time, so one thing is that I cannot add multiple elements by using same appending function. For example, if I want to add ECE and civil here, and if I run the code, so if I run the code, see here, so this append takes exactly one argument. So here the append function is allowed to take only one argument, but what you have given two arguments. That's why we are getting an error at line number 5. So you are not allowed to give two parameters at a time or two arguments at a time. So you are only allowed to give only one parameter. That parameter may be of any type. It may be an integer or floating point or a character or a string, etc. It may be of any type, but you are allowed to give only one. But by using for loop, okay, but by using for loop, you can add any number of elements you want. For example, okay, for example, for I, okay, for I in something called as range, okay, for I in range of, for I in range of 10 comma 15, okay, 10 comma 15, and here a dot append of I. So see here, the value of I has been changing from 10 to 15, where 15 will not be included. It will be included up to 14. So the value of I will be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So here we are trying to execute the same statement with different I values. So for first time, we are calling a dot append of, the initial value of I is 10. So a dot append of 10. So 10 will be added to the list, and then 10 will be incremented to 11. So a dot append of 11, a dot append of 12, a dot append of 13, and a dot append of 14. So if you do so, and if you print the list, then it is going to add the elements 10 to 14 on the list. So For an append function, you are allowed to give only one parameter, but at the same time, if you want to add, okay, if you want to add multiple number of elements, you can do this by using a for loop or a while loop. It may be your choice. Okay, so I think this append function is clear. Now, there is one more function called as extend. So let us start here. There is one more function called as extend. So what this extend will do is that, so the extend method is used to add more than one element at the end of the list. Although it can add more than one element, okay, and unlike append, it adds them at the end of the list like append. See here, extend. So see, for example, here in extend function, I want to add an element to the list A, okay, where the element is that ECE. Let us assume where the element is that ECE. So if I print the list again, so it is going to add E, C, and E. So the given string has been splitted. Okay, so for example, here if I add 10, and if I print the list, so it has added 1 and 0 separate. Okay, so see here, append function only takes 2 or more variables, only numericals, not other variables. I can't understand your question, so I will reply. I will get back to you. So see here. So with this append function, for example, if I pass 10 comma 20. So if I pass 10 comma 20, see here, here also extends take only one argument. So they are suggesting that extends will also take only one argument, but you have given two. But as I said earlier, this extend function is going to take multiple number of values. So it is going to add multiple number of values at a time to the list. So see here. So if we use the list symbol here, for example, 10 comma 20, and if I run the code, okay, if I run the code, see here, in a single step, we had added couple of values to the list. So the list has been updated with 2 values. Okay, so if I provide a few more values, 30 comma 40, so even though the list will be added with the given values, the list will be updated with 10, 20, 30, 40 because we had used the extend function with the following values. Okay, and then so we have a method called as insert. Okay, we have a method called as insert. So till now we had seen about 2 methods, append and extend. So both the methods are adding the variables at the end of the list, but I want to add an element in the middle of the list, or I want to add an element at some particular position. Okay, at some particular position. So if I want to add an element at a particular position, I can go for the insert function. So what this insert function will do is that the insert function can add an element at given position in the list. So if you give a position, right, if you give a position and if you give value, so it is going to add that value at that particular position. So while we are using the append or extend, they are adding the elements at the end of the list. So they cannot add the element wherever we want. And at the same time, append and extend functions do not take more than one argument. But here, the insert function is going to take more than one argument. The first argument is the index value, and the second argument is the value that is to be inserted at particular position. So for example, I have given insert of 2 comma 25. So when I say insert of 2 comma 25, this 2 is the index value and this 25 is the value. 2 is the index and 25 is the value. So within the given list, for example, here we don't take any list. We don't take any list. For example, here if I have given a dot, so in the list A, we are trying to insert, okay, we are trying to insert 25 at position number 2. So in the given list, if you see here, at position 0, we have 10. At position 1, we have 25.56. At position 2, we have 4 plus 5j. Now, this 4 plus 5j will be moved towards right side, and at that position, 25 will be inserted. Okay, at that position, 25 will be inserted. So see here, if I do this one and if I print A, if I run the code, you can see the updated list. So 10 do not change its place, 25.56 remains same. But if you observe 4 plus 5j, that is the complex number, has been moved towards the right side. And in that position of 4 plus 5j, 25 has been inserted. Okay, 25 has been inserted. So this is the use of this insert function, for example. And one more thing here. So if you see here, there are 6 elements here. Okay, and we had added one more element, 25. So total there are 7 elements inside the list A. Okay, so for example, if I want to add insert something called as 10 comma 10. As we said earlier, the first value is the index value. Sorry, index. The first parameter is the index, and the second parameter is the value. So here in the list A, we are trying to add some number. So in the list A, we are trying to add some number, that is 10, at index number 10. So if you observe the list, so list is having the 6 element initially and one more element has been added, total 7 elements. So if you have 7 elements inside the list, the maximum index value will be 6. So let us see the output here. If I print the thing here, if I print A, and if I run the code, see here, if I try to insert, right, if I try to insert at an index which was not there in the list, so it is going to be added at the last as a last element in the list. So it is going to be added as a last element in the list. Okay, so here, so if you want to add at a particular position, right, if you want to add at a particular position, you can add it by mentioning the position. So if the position was not there in the list, so the element will be added at last. Okay, so let us see here. Instead of using 10 comma 10, what I have taken here is a list of elements, and inside this list I have used a pair of elements. Okay, pair of elements where I want to add 2 comma 30 and then 3 comma 40. So if I run the code, okay, if I run the code, so here if you do so, you are getting an error because insert method will have a maximum of 2 parameters. But if you mention this rectangular braces, everything will be treated as a single parameter. That's why we are getting this. So if you remove this one, and if you run the code again, okay, if you run the code again, still we are going to get an error. Okay, tuple object cannot be interpreted as an integer. So see here, if you use the parenthesis symbol, then it is considered as tuple. So let us replace this parenthesis with a list here. If you replace this with a list, so list object cannot be interpreted as an integer. So you are only allowed to enter, right? You are only allowed to enter only one value by using this insert function. So if you want to go for, if you want to add multiple values at the same time, you can go for nested for loop or nested while loop. Okay, right. So with this, I'm going to close today's session. And in tomorrow's session, we are going to see how to remove or how to pop or how to slice and how to reverse the elements in the string, how to find the length and minimum maximum value, how to search an element, and how to sort an elements in the list. Okay, so if anybody is having the doubts, you can raise your hands. If anybody is having the doubts, you can raise your hands. Okay, there are no doubts. I'm going to close today's session. Okay, so we will meet you in the next session. So in the next session, we are going to cover all the remaining topics, all the remaining functions regarding the list. Okay, and thank you very much for being here. Let us meet us in the next session.